record this real quick, Fred. So we'll have it on our YouTube page for other students to see as well.
Okay, we're going to have to disconnect. If you're going to record it, then we can't participate in that.
HR violation.
Exactly. Well, we appreciate the opportunity to be with you all today. I've got with me on the line, I've got Leslie Kelly. Leslie, say hello.
You may be muted.
I'll say
hi,
hello.
everyone.
There we go.
There she is. Hey, Leslie, how are you?
Great.
Good. Leslie's a senior vice president in charge of our business development area and is located over in our southern Mississippi market, and also heads up our treasury management area for the region and does a whole lot of other things too. So she's going to talk a little later about some of the things she handles in her role. Next up, we have Ty Johnson. Ty, you want to say hello? Or maybe not.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think it was muted. I apologize about that.
That's all right. All right. Then Ty's in our Panama City office. He's a vice president with the bank, primarily in the commercial lending area, although he oversees the office in Panama City. So Ty, welcome to the group. Okay, so we're gonna hear from them a little later, and I am Fred Leopold. Just to let you know, I am the Chief Lending Officer for what we call the Coast Region of Community Bank, which is the area, and the three of us all work in the Coast Region, which is the area that runs from basically Gulfport, Mississippi, through southern Alabama, and through to Panama City. So we have, I think, 16 offices now, maybe 17. We did add another one recently. So in that area. So again, about half of those are in Mississippi, about a quarter of those in South Alabama, and another quarter of them down in South Florida. There's a map, I think, in your package that we'll show you a little bit later. But one of the things that that I think is really important to learn about our company, and I suggest as you investigate employers for your real permanent employment, is really trying to understand the culture of the company in which you go to work for. And culture is very important to Community Bank. Our company has been around for I think this is our 115th year that we're celebrating this year. So we've been around a while, and we're basically founded on some real bedrock principles of community service and, being an active part of the business community, as well as the social and really all aspects of the community, and hiring people that are interested in doing the same kinds of things. We sponsor a lot of community organizations, a lot of community events, and we're really embedded within the communities in which we operate. So that is a real fundamental premise under which we work. And I think as you, as students, go out and try to understand who it is you want to go to work for, I think it's important that one of the aspects that you look at in an employer is, what do they stand for? I mean, who are they? What's their culture? Do I feel like my personality is going to fit in well with that structure, that culture of the company? Because while there are a lot of different banks and credit unions and other kinds of financial institutions, which we'll talk a little bit about later, all of them have their own sort of DNA, their own makeup, their own approach to things, and they vary widely. So other than getting a job, which I know is very important, you want to try to see if you can't match up your personality to the kind of organization that you feel like does the things you like to do, approaches the things you like to approach in a similar way, if at all possible. So just kind of laying that foundation, Lauren, why don't we roll to the video, and this will give you a little bit of a feel of Community Bank.
We talk about legacy a lot of times, and
legacy one way or another, but I think with Community Bank, you go back and look, Thomas is celebrating his 50th year here, and as you said, he started with $6 million, and he came in here and he changed the culture totally.
The one thing I admire about Thomas, he always stepped aside. When someone was ready to do something, and if Thomas was in this position, he would step aside so that you could get that position. He did that for me. He doesn't just leave you, but he gave so much opportunity. Now that's our job.
To me, your legacy and my legacy and the legacy I've got to pass on to the next is to make sure we take that foundation, to take that DNA that's woven all through from those ideas and all and make it work. And there's so much opportunity at Community Bank right now, and there's going to be, I mean, our best days are ahead. There's some great things happening, and our opportunity to build people and to give them the chance that we had, I mean, it's there.
Building something that lasts doesn't happen overnight. It is a commitment to excellence that calls for a unified vision and dedication to hard work. Since the beginning, we have strived to create a lasting legacy founded on core principles of relationship building and unmatched customer care.
Of course, you know, a community is made up of a lot of different type people, a lot of different type businesses, and our goal is to service the needs of the people that we're involved with, and that's our community.
Banks in small communities normally are the backbone of any community, and the more they give money for this, they give money, but more importantly, they take their time. You got to take your time and be a part of that community.
Here's enough to support these wonderful missions.
I guess the thing that I enjoy the most are the people. Banking is about relationships. The ones that are successful can build the relationships the best. If you've got the best and brightest bankers, which I believe we do, you're going to win.
Community Bank has been set apart from our competitors by a devotion to every single person it serves. From our humble beginnings in Forest, Mississippi, to our growth and shining success, we have held fast to the values that make us unique.
I think Benjamin Franklin says the best investment you can ever make is in education. And that's one of the things we try to do is make sure that we educate and we train our people that are well trained so that they're able to take care of that customer. And that's the difference, I think, in our bank and the other banks.
I was looking at a list earlier of the number of years people have been with us. You would be surprised at the number of people who've been over 20 years, 20, 30, 40. We've got one lady up to 60 years with us. This is just the place they'd rather be.
You have to earn things at our company. You have to earn it. You're trying to make everybody feel like, I'm a part of this. I'm a part of this, and I got to do my job right to make the whole thing work. And as an owner, if we all do it right, my stock's going to go up, and when I retire, I won't have to worry about anything. I want that for every one of our people.
With a culture so focused on people, both internally and externally, Community Bank looks confidently to our future. Technology will change and new challenges will arise, but nothing can replace the value of human connection.
Sustained success doesn't happen with one great move. It just doesn't. It happens by getting up every single morning, doing the right thing the right way, and just continuing to do it. And if you do the right thing every day, all the success will come.
Don't change the culture. I don't care how many times you change the process. Make sure you keep the culture. Why can't you?
Doesn't it make sense that it all works? Now, a lot of companies talk about that stuff. We do it. And the opportunity has never been any better than it is right now.
Okay. Well, I'm kind of tearing up after that. I just, all right, sorry. Um, well, I hope it kind of gives you some idea of our company. And as I said, we've been around for 115 years. Um, one of the things that was in that video that I cannot understate is that we really, we really thrive because we are a performance-based company. So one of the things that is, I think, fundamental to our success is to try to have our people obviously want to be successful and be successful. And so we do as good a job as we possibly can to train and develop our folks and give people opportunity. So we're all about that. Why don't you go to the next slide, Lauren? So just to give you an idea of where we operate, and I know some of these little dots are kind of hard to see on this little map here to the right, but we have 51 offices. We're in 4 states. If you look up at the kind of left hand, up in the top left there, we only have an office or 2 in the Memphis area. That's our Tennessee presence. Then if you come south from there, you get into Mississippi, which is where we were founded, and we have offices up really across the whole part of Mississippi, up in the northern part, the Delta, and Tupelo, and those areas. And then you come down, and we're into Jackson and Hattiesburg. And then if you keep coming down to the coastline, you see some of those offices I mentioned before. So we're in Gulfport and Biloxi and Ocean Springs, Pascagoula. I mean, those southern Mississippi markets. And that darker area is Alabama, of course. And so we've got a couple offices in Mobile proper, a few offices over on the Eastern Shore, which would be Daphne and Fairhope. And then up in the center of Alabama, there's one lone dot. We have an office, actually just getting ready to open our second one in Birmingham. So we're not, around where Troy is physically just yet, but we're surrounding you. So maybe one day we'll be there. And then of course, if you come down south again over into Florida, you see our offices there, which, Fort Walton Beach, Destin, Crestview, Panama City Beach is where we operate down here. So we have 815 employees across that footprint. Okay, let's go there. You can see the growth that we've experienced over the last, since 1995 on this chart. But you can see at this point, we're about $3.7 billion in assets, which, sounds like a lot, and I guess it is. But more importantly, I guess, is the steady growth that you see on that chart. We've grown consistently year in and year out. Mostly through just our general business growth. We have not made a tremendous amount of acquisitions. We just continue to grow the company and open new offices that way. So our growth comes from opening new offices primarily rather than buying people. To give you some sense, I mean, you might look at a Regions Bank, or I'm not sure what other banks might operate maybe that you'd be familiar with, but let's just use Regions as an example. They're, probably, gosh, I don't even know exactly what their footings are these days, but it's probably somewhere in the, $100 billion range, as you can see us at like 3.7. And then you could get into a Bank of America, which might be, $600-700 billion. So, you got some banks that are quite a bit bigger, but then you see some community banks that are probably quite a bit smaller than us too. So you probably may have some that operate within your general area too. So we like to think that we're a bank that's big enough to do what we need to do to service our clients' needs, but we're small enough to be able to help and react and really have some personal touches. So we're definitely in what we think is a sweet spot of the size of banking. Okay. As you can see from the American Banker, we were selected the best bank to work for a number of years running. Again, that goes back to sort of priding ourselves in treating our employees well. And obviously that's an important aspect. You heard on that video that you've got people that have worked for the bank for a long, long time. I've been here now for about 12 years. Leslie, how long have you been with the company?
17 years.
Yeah. And Ty, how about yourself?
2.5.
Yeah. So hey, you got to start somewhere, Ty, right? By God. Excuse me. But we've got people that have ranged all around. I think one of the testaments to the company is the fact that we are able to retain a lot of folks. And, when you have quality people, they can go anywhere. I'll be just honest with you. I mean, if I didn't like what I was doing, if I didn't like where I was doing it, I would choose, I'd pick up my sticks and I'd go somewhere else, but we try to keep our employees happy, and we'll get into some of the ways we do that going here forward. Okay. But let's talk about just career opportunities, because that's kind of what we're about today in the most part of things. So what I thought would be helpful would be to explain some of the functions that are routinely, handled by different positions within a bank. Because if you come to make an opportunity at community bank or even a credit union or some others, more than likely they're going to have positions like this that they're offering jobs for. So we'll talk a little bit about them. And of course, we'll have Ty and Leslie talk a little bit about the ones that the roles that they play too. But let's start off with just the teller function. A common position, in banks and credit unions, this is the person that you may interact with if you actually go to your bank or your credit union frequently. It's the person that's taking your deposits, cashing your checks. This is a very common role in financial institutions. It's a really good starting position at a lot of companies because it gives you an opportunity to really learn the fundamentals of how the branch operation works. And most companies have branch operations. So that's where you find a lot of opportunities and a lot of starter jobs. And there are roles within there. There are tellers and there are head tellers, and there's some different levels within that role. And many banks use their tellers to do other things too. Depending on their branch traffic level, they may use tellers to help with a lot of other functions within an office. So again, kind of an entry level job. However, there are people that serve as tellers their entire career because they like it. A lot of customer interaction, you're dealing one-on-one, face-to-face with a lot of people, and some people like that. Also, sometimes there's part-time work available in that role, which might work well for a student if they're trying to work their, do a part-time job as they're going to college. Okay. Customer service representative. This is a role that is, generally speaking, if you come into a branch or a bank operation, you're going to see some people probably out in the desks, out in the lobby. These are those people. This role primarily is opening accounts, closing accounts, maybe helping with CDs, maybe helping people get to their safety deposit boxes in some cases. This is, generally speaking, this person can probably do the teller role too, and may have actually been promoted from a teller's job to this role because it's a little bit more expanded. Maybe helps people with overdrawn accounts. I mean, this is sort of a bit of a jack of all trades, but a very important person within a branch. So helps with the opening and closing of the office, may even play some other functions, some other roles too. So this is kind of level 2 in most branch operations, is a customer service representative. Loan assistance. Okay, so one of the basic premises of what a bank does is it takes deposits and it makes loans. So taking deposits is how they get the money to make the loans. Pretty simple, right? So now, it's so everybody brings in their deposits, puts them all put them in a big bag, stick them in the vault, and the next day we start lending them out. Well, it's not quite that simple, but that's the concept. But a loan assistant is someone that helps a loan officer um, get their documents in order, actually helps loans close, follows up on items that may be needed for a closing, is really that liaison between the lender, a loan officer, and a customer, generally speaking, after a loan's approved, although these people may help in the approval process too. So this is a really important role, because without lending assistance being able to get loans closed, the loan officer is really at a loss. So this is a critical role. This is generally somebody that, and they may have come up through the ranks as one of these other previous positions. You can certainly hire into this job, but also it may be a role that, maybe somebody's coming to us from a title company, a title insurance company, or some other financial service business, a law office, any of those kind of jobs might lead to a role as a loan assistant, but it's a very important role. A credit analyst, all right? Credit analyst's job is to help underwrite loans. So most credit analysts, are working directly, again, with loan officers, and they're getting financial information from a customer, helping to gather information, and they're helping to compile it and put it in whatever format the company that they work for uses to make a loan decision. Could be entering stuff into a computer model, could be preparing a loan package, as we might call it, or a credit offering is another term we use, but really gathering that information that assists someone in making a loan decision, whether it's the officer or some other approval body. So this is, again, an important role. Often this is a stepping stone to becoming a mortgage, or either a mortgage or a commercial lender. This is the behind the scenes, one of the behind the scenes roles that it really understands why someone should get a loan or why they shouldn't. So this is a great place to be. As a matter of fact, we hire a lot of college graduates for roles like this. If they have a penchant for numbers, they might stay, they may want to be a credit analyst for quite some time, or they may want to use this as a good way to understand the lending process and then step out from that credit analyst role and become a loan officer. Okay. A mortgage lender. A mortgage lender is kind of what it sounds like. This is someone that helps people with residential loans. So, and we'll talk about some companies that do just that solely, or someone like ourselves that does commercial and consumer and residential loans. So a mortgage lender is going to help you get they're going to help you get a loan to finance maybe the construction of a new house, the purchase of a new house. Maybe you are looking to refinance a home that you already have. You've seen a lot on TV probably and on the internet about how low mortgage loan rates are. So the mortgage lender is a pretty specialized job in that they deal primarily with residential loans and don't jump across a lot of different product lines, because there are a lot of regulations involved in residential lending and in mortgage lending. So sometimes, that's a separate segment of the business. Most banks, as we'll talk about again a little bit later, will have mortgage departments or mortgage companies, but then you'll see some entities that simply are mortgage companies. You might see some advertisements on TV, or you may be seeing something hit your social media about companies that really just are soliciting mortgage business. Okay. And in the mortgage industry, there's a whole line of positioning job opportunities similar to what we're talking about in banks, maybe not with tellers and so forth, but they have mortgage processors and closers and they have a whole network of jobs within a mortgage company too. Consumer and commercial lenders, okay? So these are folks that, generally speaking, in our world would exist out in our branch system, and they're going to specialize in making loans. A consumer loan officer obviously specializes in that. So you're talking about someone who's making car loans, home equity lines, consumer loans, maybe debt consolidation loans, maybe a mortgage loan that we might do in the bank, a loan to purchase a lot that you might want to buy and then build on later. Those are a boat loan. I mean, those are all kinds of things that a consumer loan officer might do. Okay. A commercial loan officer, which is in our bank, our loan officers kind of do both. So we're going to have Ty talk a little bit about his role in a minute. But a commercial loan officer is simply that. I mean, they make commercial loans primarily. Depending on the bank that you're talking about, a bank like ours, which is kind of a small to medium-sized bank, our lenders do everything. In some of the larger banks that you'll see, like the Regions or the Bank of America, or some of those kinds of things, Truist, the old SunTrust, which is now something else. You can, a lot of these banks, Wells Fargo, so forth, they'll have bankers that'll just focus purely on consumer and purely on commercial. So a commercial lender is going to be lending to businesses, lending for commercial real estate projects. I mean, they're really going to be focused on banking businesses and making them loans. And that's a good segue, Ty. Why don't you talk a little bit about your role as a banker, and a little bit about what you do as a lender?
So my role as a vice president here in our Panama City office, kind of oversee our day-to-day operations, but also one of our main goals are to grow deposits, but also grow loans as well. And kind of piggybacking on what Fred said, as a lender here, we do both commercial and consumer loans. And your consumer loans, like Fred said, are going to be your car loans, maybe a house, or maybe a residential lot for a future home that you're wanting to build. And your commercial is pretty much what it is. It could be an investment property. It could be a hotel or a commercial strip center, something along those lines. And kind of my role in getting those loans are, it's up to me to get them. Those just don't walk through the door. So while you're also in charge of the office and the day-to-day operations, I do get to get outside of the bank quite a bit and meet potential customers and meet with customers to kind of drum up leads and drum up business as well in order for that to happen. So that's kind of the nature of the job and kind of the difference between the two as well.
Mention a little bit, Ty, about your community involvement. What aspects of what are you involved with?
Yeah, so kind of the community bank kind of goes back to being involved in our community. I don't know if many of you are familiar with Rotary, so I'm a member of our Rotary Club, our downtown Rotary Club here in Panama City. Currently, the treasurer should be the incoming president in the next 2 years. But I also sit on the board of the Boys and Girls Club, something that's very passionate to me. And the bank supports me through that. And we also support the Boys and Girls Club as well. And it's just something to give back to the community and show a presence that you really are here and you care about the community.
Excellent. And when we get done, we'll obviously have plenty of opportunity to circle back and ask any questions to any of the three of us that you'd like. And next up, we'll talk about business development for a moment. Leslie, why don't you are our lead business development officer. Why don't you kind of talk a little bit about what you do and how you go about doing it?
Sure. So glad to be here with all of you today. Let me first start on a little bit of background, and it segues from the video that you just watched and what Fred mentioned about the opportunities. As mentioned, I've been with the bank for 17 years. I began my career on the front line as a teller, the first career opportunity that Fred mentioned, and really worked my way through essentially every department of the bank. I've been a customer service representative. At one time, I handled the AP, accounts payable for the bank. I've lent money, and then I've been in this current position for the last 5 years. So I'll share with you about business development and kind of what we do and what the career entails. So I guess the best way to summarize business development is simply to say we promote the bank in all areas. So our main focus in business development is to grow deposits. We work very closely with the lenders. As Ty mentioned, lenders go out and seek new loans and deposits. So my role is to go out, meet with customers, find those deposits, and then bring them into the bank. And what we do is we work closely with those customers. A lot of them are complex customer base or assisting with larger, more multifaceted relationship moves. And what we do is we just really get to know that business, how they operate, how they bank. We know the ins and outs of that business, and essentially make sure all their needs are met. Part of what we do also is we work with our branches. You know, we get monthly reports. We're monitoring and mining those reports to make sure we're meeting budget on the loan side, on the deposit side. And if we're not, we will work with lenders or we'll work with the staff in those branches to see, okay, what can we do to work together to start meeting budget. So that is a fun opportunity because I get to work with the lenders, I get to work with the staff of all levels. So it's a very rewarding career. So I've touched a little bit on deposits, but as you all are aware, banking is heavily influenced by technology. If you think about it, you can pretty much do anything in banking from a mobile device. So you can make deposits from your mobile device. So more technology is being embedded in banking now and really for the future. So part of the business development department is we find those deposit customers and we make sure they're coupled with the enhancements that we offer for convenience, such as debit cards, online banking. For business customers, we call that our treasury management department. And so what that looks like is just as them making a deposit from your mobile device, from the convenience of their office, they can make their deposits through a machine called Merchant Capture. ACH for payroll. You know, if he really wants to bring in a check to the bank, they can just automatically get that deposited. And there's some other features and services we offer through our treasury management department. And then as Ty mentioned, you know, mining for deposits, mining for loans, ensuring that our customers' needs are met. We are very active in our community. As Ty mentioned, Community Bank really encourages community involvement. Our lending, our calling officers are encouraged to get involved with a nonprofit or something they truly believe in and really want to advocate for. So being involved, as you know, allows us to meet new people through networking. We share the bank's story, and oftentimes business is earned through those interactions. So it's been great to share with you about business development.
Excellent. Well, and I know as you all know, because I mean, I'm going to make the bold assumption that everybody on the call today has a bank account somewhere. And they're probably banking from their phone or obviously using their debit card and whatever other avenues which they choose to bank. And so we're becoming more and more technology driven as time wears on, but that doesn't discount the need to be able to, you know, interact with people and sell and, you know, coach and do all those things that you have to do in order to survive in the business world, communicate both verbally and written. So I'm sure those are all aspects of that you're going through in school. But not to get too long-winded. So just to kind of back up on maybe these last couple things, bank operations, obviously we have a big technology group. It's primarily headquartered in our main office, which is in Brandon, Mississippi. And of course we have office management, and we're running, when you run as many offices as we do, you've got branch managers and you've got other people that are actually in the role of making sure that that the machine runs every day and everybody shows up. And, we've got technology people and we've got HR people and we've got, everything that you would imagine a company of our size has. So I put down here on the bottom of this slide is the place to go look for our job postings. So that careers at communitybank.net is where you would find open positions posted. Okay. Let's talk about the kinds of candidates that we're looking for primarily in our banking operation. Okay. So these are the sort of basic criteria that we look for in someone coming out of college. So business degree, 3.0 or a higher GPA. Again, that's communication, social skills. And then of course, we would love for you to work within a market that we work. Excuse me. Although COVID has provided us some remote working opportunities, we do like our folks to be within our footprint because most of the time we're working from the office, although some remote opportunities certainly do exist. And then you just have to be eligible for U.S. employment. I think one of the things that Lauren asked me before is, do we hire international students? And the answer to that is we do, as long as all the paperwork is properly in order for us to employ you. So, and we can get with our HR folks if you are a candidate like that. Okay. Some of the other benefits of working with our company that I think are just important. And many companies have some similar things, and then we have a few unique things. So we have what is called an ESOP, an employee stock ownership plan, that's in place. This is kind of interesting because we feel, and this is one of our premises of our firm, that if you are an owner, you work harder than an employee. I think it's a basic fundamental concept. So we actually grant shares to every employee in our company annually, depending on the performance of our company. And it's done consistently. So a consistent percentage of your compensation, depending on how well the company does every year, is given to you. So that ranges from 0% a year to 10% of your salary. I think last year we did what was it, Les? It was 7.5%.
I believe so.
I think it was. So we average somewhere probably around 5 to 7%, I think would be a good average. And this basically goes into an account, and you get, if you made, obviously $20,000 a year, you'd get 5% of that. You would get it annually. It would go into an account, and you vest in that account after 6 years of employment. You don't vest anything the year 1, but year 2, it's 20% each year thereafter, and then that is yours. And then you get those shares, and you get dividends on those shares while they're in your account, and then that's something that you have that's yours. And in it, believe it or not, I know it doesn't sound like a lot perhaps, but instead of matching a 401k or doing some other benefit that you might see some other companies do, and this requires no contribution from our staff. You just get this. So it's kind of an interesting concept. We also have a retirement plan, which you can invest in, a 401k plan if you so choose. And then we have a lot of other standard benefits that most companies have, like insurance and vacation and, those kinds of things. We pay bonuses generally annually. We're not necessarily a real big commission-based company. We're more of a bonus-oriented company. So you see those come annually rather than maybe monthly or quarterly in most cases. One other thing we have, because as you can see on the call, I'm in a shirt and tie. Ty's got his jacket on and a tie. Leslie's in a nice business attire. So we require our folks to dress in a business environment and professionally. But we have a clothing allowance. Now, you talk about a throwback to days gone by. But we basically reimburse our employees twice a year. I believe it's 60% of the clothing expense that they have. And I want to say it's up to like $500 or $600 each time. I can't remember the cap. Leslie, you might remember it better than I. But it's
720 is the cap.
huh?
720.
720. Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay. So you can spend, you know, up to, I don't know, whatever it is, $1,000 or $1,500 or whatever, and 60% of that you get reimbursed. So again, recognizing that it costs money to look professional, we want our people to be able to look good. So, you know, and we do that twice a year. Matter of fact, we're in the process right now of closing out our fall campaign. So all you do is turn in receipts, show us what you bought receipt wise. We don't necessarily need to see the clothes. We'll see them when you come in, and then you get reimbursed. So kind of, again, a different thing. That's a little different. We don't have uniforms, but we have that. Okay, let's move on. And I know we're taking up a lot of time, so I'll try to move through this next piece rather quickly, and then we'll go to questions. If you were to pursue a career in the financial services industry, just a few things that, you know, this may be elementary, but just in case you're not familiar, we're a bank. Okay, so banks are, generally speaking, privately owned concerns. So whether you're private, as in owned by us, a group of shareholders, you know, local people, or whether it's publicly traded, like a Bank of America or a Wells Fargo or whoever, you know, those kind of regions. As I used an example earlier, that's traded over an exchange. Those are for-profit, owned by somebody, companies. Okay. Credit unions are a little different. And some of you, I'm sure, see credit unions. They may revolve around, you know, I think you guys have All-in-One up there, which used to be Army, but you probably got some different credit unions. I mean, Troy may even have its own credit union. I don't know. I mean, there are credit unions all over the place, but a credit union is different. A credit union is a member-owned organization. It's a different one. It doesn't have shareholders. And it doesn't pay taxes. A lot of people don't realize that. So it's tax exempt. So credit unions primarily service consumer-oriented needs. They do a little bit of commercial lending. Banks do a little bit of both, probably more commercial than consumer. But a credit union is run by its members. Okay, so and now clearly it has a CEO and a president, and you know it has officers within the company, but it doesn't have shareholders like a bank does. Okay. Mortgage companies or mortgage banks. So there are different companies that make a market in mortgages. So you may not see a lot of these underlying mortgage companies, although sometimes these lines cross. But these are companies that package up mortgages and sell them in the secondary market, and they're the kind of the machine behind the curtain, if you will. But then there are a lot of mortgage companies out there, which are the companies that you might see, and you might see like Quicken Loans or Rocket Mortgage or a mortgage division of a bank, like we have a Community Mortgage or whatever, but you'll have Bank of America Mortgage and all these other companies. So the one side is more of a retail oriented. We're going to go out and make the loans and get them all together, and then we're going to sell them to this other mortgage bank, which is kind of a behind the curtain side of things. Same thing with investment banks. You know, you hear a lot of discussion if you watch CNBC or watch the news or whatever. You know, there are a lot of brokerage firms that are retail brokers where you might go, A.G. Edwards, or maybe Merrill Lynch has a retail division, of course. I mean, all kinds of retail brokerage firms where you might go and work with a financial advisor and have your money invested. That's the brokerage firm side. The investment banking side, they're on the backside, and they might be underwriting bond issues. They might be doing stock offerings for companies. They're the core, sort of the inside engine of the investment vehicle. They're packaging together securities that might be sold by brokerage firms. Okay. insurance companies, insurance agencies. Well, an insurance agency is something that you might see obviously across your town, ABC Insurance, or some companies run both sides. You might see an Allstate agency or a State Farm agency. The agency side of thing is the side that deals with the consumers. So if you're going to get your car insured, if you're going to get your home insured or what have you, you're going to be dealing with an insurance agent and an agency. The inside of the machine is where they package up all those insurance policies, and they're figuring out what to charge you and how to do it, and they're investing all the money that comes in from your policy, and sometimes they're the same and sometimes they're different. So like in a State Farm or a Allstate, it might be one of the same, but if you go to ABC Insurance, that might be an independent insurance agency. They might be marketing the insurance company's products, so they might be offering a lot of other and if you notice your insurance policy when you go to your insurance agent probably doesn't have your insurance agent isn't who your policy's with. They're just the ones that sold it to you. So you've got somebody else behind the scenes. That's the insurance company that they're marketing for, and the insurance agency obviously gets paid for selling the products of the insurance company. So some of these things, all the lines do blur a bit because a lot of banks do these things and some credit unions do some of these things. So, but there are a lot of different avenues within the financial service industry that you might choose to pursue a career in. So that is a lot. I'm more than happy, Ty and Leslie and I are more than happy to answer any questions that anybody might have. If anybody's still awake or with us.
Yeah, if anybody wants to take themselves off mute and ask a question, they're welcome to. They can type one in the chat box as well.
Yes, I actually had a question for Mr. Ty. I'm pretty familiar with the Panama City area. How many employees do y'all think that you employ in that area, or are y'all more based in Mississippi and Alabama?
Well, in this area right now, we're growing. This is, as you kind of saw on the map, we're probably the furthest east that the bank goes, or we are the furthest east. Here at my office, we run with about 6 employees. It's a new office, so it's smaller. But on our beach, we have, I think, 12 employees. So for our Bay County area, it's roughly, it could fluctuate anywhere between maybe 18 to 20 on the high end.
I kind of wanted to ask about you guys, your growth too. So it didn't look from your chart that it's dipped much. So what can y'all kind of say towards your growth consistently over the years, even through how the economy's been down recently?
I'd like to credit Leslie for all that success over the last years. No, I think it's just the commitment to what we do, and we're not growing through acquisition. We're always seem to be adding a few offices a year. And to Trey's question, I think about Bay County, we see Florida as a real growth market, and obviously Alabama as well. So if you have an interest in coming and exploring opportunities with us. For example, we're going to be opening up in Pensacola here in probably, I hope by the end of the year or around the first of next year. We're identifying some local candidates over there now, which again, being in banking, you have to have people. So people first, office second. But we're looking at that market, I know, and certainly looking at Tallahassee too. I don't think it'll be quite that quick there, but we're always looking to expand and to add people. So it's just the consistency of our effort, I think, that we've helped us with our success.
And if I can add too, our company is very transparent. At the beginning of the year, we sit down, we go over our goals. Everybody knows that they have a piece of the puzzle to, make the puzzle fit. We meet throughout the year, even down to our frontline staff. Everybody knows what's expected. And if everybody does their part, that's why we get these numbers and this growth as we have over the course of, many years. If we fall off track, we meet, we discuss, let's get back on track. How are we going to do that? And then, I will say, and this all goes back to the video, no matter what department you're in, no matter what role you play, if you're the chief credit officer, if you're the head of the bank, everybody rolls up their sleeves and they get in and they do the work. And we just have great teamwork here. We're not quick to take credit for something. It's everybody gets the credit because it was done by the team. So I think that's a little bit different than, some other organizations.
Great insight. And I know we've all learned a lot from this presentation, so we appreciate that as well. Students, any other questions? Anybody? So we will have this recording on our YouTube page, and we will share that with a lot of our other students and College of Business students, and any students that are on the call now live, if you would, if you'll look out for that on our YouTube page in the next probably 24 hours and share that with your friends. This is very just invaluable information on pursuing a career in the banking industry, just for education. But also, I'm sure, Fred, you're always looking for good top talent out there.
We are, and that's one thing I'll say. If you have any questions about anything, you've got our contact information on there. Feel free to contact myself or Leslie or Ty. If we can help you in any way, whether it's just to give you a little advice, if you're looking at an opportunity somewhere, just want to talk to someone who's maybe out there doing it, I'll be more than happy to help you. And if you look and see an opportunity that we might have on our website and want to just talk about it, we certainly can talk to either of us, and we'd be happy to talk to you about that. I will say this, as Leslie mentioned earlier, she started off as a teller, and one of the things that I just encourage you, because obviously unemployment's a little higher right now than maybe it's been in the prior years. If you find a company that you like, if you find a situation that you think makes sense for you, get into it somehow. It doesn't have to be the perfect job for you day one. I would just encourage you to go in there, do it, get a job, perform like you can, the best of your ability. And if a company is what you think it is, people are going to recognize that. Okay. And once you get in an organization, it's a lot easier to navigate within it than it is if you're not in, because people like to promote from within. Every one of us has had a job that led us to the job we have now. So, we didn't start here. So I just encourage you, whether it's community bank or anywhere, I think that's a great approach to take. You may not be making exactly what you hope to make day one, but just get after it. And you'll be pleasantly surprised how quickly people will recognize you. And if they don't, and if it doesn't turn out to be the company that you thought it was, well, you will have gained some valuable experience, and you'll be able to leverage that down the road. So just
okay. Great insight. All right. Well, thank you, Fred and Leslie and Ty, for your time. This is really valuable for our students. We really appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Appreciate it.
Sure thing. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.